Hi, Trisha Reed here, consciouslypresent.com, trauma-informed recovery coach, energy healing practitioner, and author. In today's video, I'm going to dive down into what is the root cause of anxiety. Of course, there are many reasons for anxiety, but what if you could discover the actual root cause of any type of anxiety? What might that mean for addressing and resolving it? I'm going to talk about various types of anxiety, what might cause it, and then in my next video, in part 2, I'll take the root cause of anxiety all the way down to its foundation. So I'm going to start by stating that the root cause of anxiety is the foundational programming of this construct that we're in. I've discussed in previous videos how this construct is built on the program of inadequacy. This includes beliefs in lack and in scarcity. The foundational programmed belief that gets installed into our bodies, our subconscious mind, is I'm not enough. These are coupled with the emotions of toxic shame. The battle is for energy, specifically our soul energy and our spirit consciousness. Therefore, we are the resource being drained as a spirited, souled, living being. This is the nature of this construct that we're in here. And consumption is the name of the game. Now let's talk a little bit about trauma for a minute. As I've mentioned also in previous videos, trauma is biological overwhelm. It happens when we've gone through too much stress for too long, too much stress all at once or too fast, when our body didn't have the sufficient resources or energy to deal with it. This causes an overwhelmed situation in our nervous system when the freeze reaction kicks in and everything that was flooding the body and nervous system at that time, the emotions, the adrenaline, cortisol, and other neurochemicals, catecholamines, as well as food, metabolites, pollen, dust, people, sounds, smells, pathogens, toxins, and any other internal or external substance got stuck when the freeze kicked in. These then become triggers, as when you're exposed to one or more of these later on, they trigger the body's memory of the original overwhelm, and you have to engage in a survival strategy or a coping mechanism to deal with a trigger or triggers that were coupled with the original overwhelm or trauma. The body remembers everything, even if our conscious mind doesn't realize what's going on. We just know we go into fight or flight and feel an intense fear of being overwhelmed again, even if we don't realize that's what we're feeling, that it's the fear of overwhelm or freeze that we're feeling. We feel it as anxiety and often can't explain why the anxiety is there. There's also a lot more to these bodies than these physical layers of the body-mind complex that we perceive. This physical body is just the physical layer of the entire body-mind complex. We have quite a few other layers that we mostly do not perceive. These include the etheric layer, the mental layer, the emotional layer, the astral layer, a couple of template layers, a few spiritual layers, auric layers, and even what I see as an epigenetic layer. These layers also have distortions, misalignments, and other things going on that we may not be aware of, but we can often feel them without knowing what we're feeling. This feeling without knowing what it is that we're feeling can also cause anxiety. All the layers of the body-mind complex communicate with each other, but the conscious mind isn't necessarily aware of what's being communicated, especially when we're so focused here in this physical reality and not having or making the time to tune into our whole self. This realm is designed to keep us outwardly focused, distracted in survival mode. So we don't have the time or necessarily even the energy to tune in. But tuning in is very helpful for us to reach in and connect with our inner peace, our true self. This is why meditation is so helpful for so many, for relieving anxiety. Even a brief 5-minute pause can help to alleviate a lot. But there are many, many things that can cause anxiety. It would take hours or maybe days to go through them all. So let's talk about a few of them now, today, and in my next video that are common that we go through. So first of all, I want to address toxins, heavy metals, solvents, microplastics, glyphosate, and other pesticides, food toxins, dental toxins like metal fillings, mercury, and other dental products, electromagnetic frequency, other radiation, sound frequencies, noise pollution, dirty electricity, radio signals. These all require more energy and resources for our bodies to deal with. Our bodies have to detoxify this. That takes energy. Eliminating as many toxins as we can, switching to organic foods, where and when possible, switching to properly filtered water, using air purifiers in our homes, using EMF neutralizers, things like tensor rings, orgonite pyramids, and adding energy healing modalities such as body code, acupuncture, or meridian tapping, such as EFT or TFT, grounding barefoot in the grass, getting sufficient sleep at night, and helping our livers, lungs, kidneys, gut, and lymphatic system, our detox organs with proper nutrition for detoxification can help to give our bodies more energy and resources to alleviate quite a bit of the anxiety that results from these sorts of toxins. Pathogens, fungi, parasites, bacteria, hidden infections, dental cavitations, chronic infections, hidden sinus infections. There's all sorts of hidden infections that go on all the time, things that get stuck in the biofilm. While maybe we're going to doctors and they're banging their heads against the wall trying to figure out why we're still sick. They know there's an infection. A lot of these doctors that specialize in hidden infections that cause mystery symptoms. But yeah, all of these pathogens, they're all parasitic in nature. They drain your body, they drain your energy, your resources, and they cause chronic inflammation due to their mycotoxins and endotoxins, their end products, the results of their metabolic activity inside your body. They cause all sorts of damage that your body needs extra energy for in order to repair the cells, the DNA, the organs, nerves, and tissue damage that results from the pathogenic overwhelm. This inflammation causes chronic fatigue, pain, and physical anxiety. A detox protocol that I find most helpful is called the Cosmic Death Fungus, NAC Candida Protocol. And when used in conjunction with a pro-metabolic eating plan, helps to resolve the anxiety that results from pathogenic overload as you replenish your body's energy and get rid of the parasitic pathogens and microbes and get your life back. It also helps to work on the emotional level because typically there's some sort of trauma or stuck emotions that makes us susceptible to these pathogens in the first place. So the next item I want to address today right now is insufficient or imbalanced nutrition or food intake. Chronic dieting. Dieting is literally the restriction of our energy intake in some way or another. Remember, our bodies need more energy, not less. Chronic and long-term restriction might seem beneficial at first, and it can be, but long-term, it leads to burnout and overwhelm. During an extended restriction phase, our bodies run on adrenaline and cortisol, which is a major cause of anxiety. Maybe you're not getting enough healthy animal-based proteins, and your body has had to start catabolizing its own muscle, organ, and bone tissue to get what it needs for repair and growth. This depletes you. Perhaps you have zinc deficiency as a result and find yourself struggling with subsequent estrogen dominance symptoms and copper toxicity. Maybe you don't eat enough dietary cholesterol and animal-based saturated fats, so your body has to make its own from insufficient resources. Or maybe you're not getting enough glucose to fuel all the cellular processes your body has to perform while you're focused on your survival. You can't get by in a healthy way without glucose long term. To make active T3 hormone out of T4, for example, glucose is one of the necessary ingredients. So this is why when you go on a keto or a carnivore diet long term, this is a big part of the reason why your metabolic functions slow down, your body cools off, and you start having symptoms of hypothyroidism and other hormonal imbalances. So you need to make sure you're getting enough glucose. Or maybe you're eating too many yeasted breads or other yeast or yeast extract containing foods, or beer, anything that contains any kind of yeast, even nutritional yeast. And this gives too much fuel to candida or other fungi, which steal your other vital nutrients while causing increased cortisol, inflammation, and tissue damage. Perhaps you bought into the eat less and exercise more myth when what you really need is the opposite, to take in more energy and spend less energy, so your body can recover as you build up your energy stores. Calories are units of measured energy. Are you getting enough of them each day? Maybe you've got nutrient deficiencies, the very nutrients that your liver needs to use for detoxification, like your B vitamins, amino acids, and minerals like iodine, molybdenum, selenium, so your body can't handle the overwhelm of toxins and pathogens and microbes. Or maybe you're not getting enough high-quality salt or magnesium or potassium, so you have an electrolyte imbalance with resulting chronic inflammation and water retention. Is your gut microbiome producing enough vitamin K2 so that your calcium can be properly metabolized? If you are not eating enough of the right foods and too many of the wrong foods, this results in starving the helpful flora in your gut, the ones that make vitamin K2, for example, while feeding the invasive ones like candida and aspergillus, cryptococcus, other fungi, E. coli, C. diff, and all of the bad ones. And this can cause all sorts of unpleasant symptoms like gallstones, bile stagnation, or thick sludgy bile, kidney stones, and hardening arteries, while your teeth and bones don't get the calcium they need if there's not enough vitamin K2 for transporting the calcium out of the soft tissues and into the teeth and bones where it needs to go. stopping the unnecessary and misinformed eating restrictions, and adopting a pro-metabolic, truly energizing eating plan helps to restore your body's energy resources and thyroid hormone function. So you can stop running on adrenaline and cortisol and relieve the chronic anxiety that goes with the restriction of healthy foods and calories. Next, let's talk about hormone imbalance and metabolic dysfunction, hypothyroidism, estrogen dominance, progesterone deficiency. All these hormonal imbalances, including insulin resistance and metabolic dysfunction conditions such as metabolic syndrome, diabetes, tend to result from chronic dieting or energy restriction, toxin overload, and especially pathogen and microbe overwhelm. Restoring our hormonal balance through proper pro-metabolic food intake, safe and effective detoxification, such as the Cosmic Death NAC Candida Detox Protocol, and usually more of an individualized approach, such as working with a properly trained functional doctor or coach, can help you to resolve the anxiety that's caused by the chronic elevation of cortisol and adrenaline, the impaired thyroid hormone function, the low progesterone and testosterone, and the high levels of tissue-bound estrogen that cause the cascade disruptions and dysfunctions of our hormones. Next, food allergies and sensitivities and other allergies. MCAS, mast cell activation syndrome, histamine intolerance, immune system overload. These are other manifestations of energy drain that cause chronic anxiety. Working with a properly trained functional doctor or naturopath who specializes in detection and resolution of these conditions, along with energy restoration through trauma healing and other calming and restful activities, can help to get to the root of these types of physical anxiety. Oftentimes, when there are immune disorders, allergies, there are also emotional root causes. Because when a freeze happens, typically there is coupling with whatever emotions are going on at the time and whatever else you might be exposed to, including whatever foods might be in your digestive tract at the time of the freeze. If you're outside and it's allergy season and there's lots of pollen and you go through a freeze at that moment, then if there's a particular pollen in the air that you're breathing in at that time, that can be coupled with the freeze or the trauma. It can be anything. It could be anything that you're exposed to at the time of the trauma or the overwhelm. And so also working through your trauma, working to uncouple, find and uncouple what's associated with the overly activated immune system can help you get to the bottom of it even further and resolve the anxiety that goes with living with these conditions that are so difficult. Okay, so what other types of anxiety do we have? Dehydration. Water is another crucial resource that our bodies need enough of on a daily basis. Do you drink enough pure, clean water each day? There can be various reasons why we might be dehydrated even if we think we're getting enough water. Sometimes our cells can't properly absorb or utilize the water, or maybe we've got too much tissue-bound estrogen or copper causing water retention so that the water doesn't go where it needs to go but just stays trapped in your tissues and it isn't getting into the cells where it needs to go to hydrate properly. Or maybe we have an electrolyte imbalance, or our cells aren't properly absorbing or utilizing our electrolytes. Or possibly we might have a lot of inflammation from pathogens and microbes and toxins, or serious nutritional deficiencies and imbalances. Maybe we've been on a carbohydrate energy restricted diet and now our tissues can't hold on to adequate water so easily. Maybe there are trapped emotions or programs coupled with a prior trauma that's being held in the body and in the nervous system. Or perhaps there's some sort of EMF or radiation or other toxicity that's also coupled with it. Working with a properly trained functional doctor or a naturopath or perhaps a pro-metabolic nutritionist or coach, in addition to emotional healing, such as what you can get through trauma healing and modalities like body code, can help you to discover the root of any dehydration issues you might be having and begin to resolve the chronic anxiety that results from dehydration. Now let's talk about leaky gut. One of the most common sources of chronic anxiety is that which starts in our gut, when the thin single-celled gut lining is compromised, often due to antibiotic use, which disrupts the microbiome and allows the pathogens like Candida to flourish. If the Candida grows beyond its yeast stage and goes into its hyphal mode, it grows these tentacle-like legs that drill deep into the tissue to start looking for other sources of energy from other tissues in your body. It causes tremendous inflammation and damages cell membranes, leading to chronically elevated cortisol levels, while it loosens up the gut barrier, and then food and protein particles, along with the candida or other fungi, parasites, bacteria, and pathogens, can escape your digestive tract and go directly to your bloodstream. This is a leaky gut condition, and it can lead to more severe immune conditions, including histamine intolerance and mast cell activation syndrome, or MCAS, as well as sclerosis conditions, including MS, or multiple sclerosis, along with a huge list of so many other possible diagnoses. This keeps you in a chronic anxiety state, as your body is constantly on alert. Emotionally, people who have adopted a fawning coping mechanism or survival strategy in response to trauma and early life abuse or neglect become people pleasers, tend to have weaker boundaries, and this can often manifest physically as a gut barrier weakness when we chronically put everyone else's needs first at the expense of our own. When you're living in situations where you are going through abuse, feeling like it's not safe for you to be you, or for you to have or express a self, or your feelings, your opinions, perspectives, or to just enjoy yourself, always feeling like you're walking on eggshells, you're much more susceptible to developing gut issues. To deal with resolving the anxiety that comes from leaky gut, it helps to deal with this on both the physical and the emotional levels simultaneously. Working with a properly trained functional doctor or naturopath, along with trauma healing and learning how to put yourself first and let other people tend to their own needs, goes a long way in healing this kind of gut damage. I also like to use some essential oils, such as small intestine support and large intestine support, from vibrant blue oils, as well as Bach flower remedies such as Centauri, to help to strengthen boundaries, while doing the inner work of finding out what your boundaries actually are. Many of us don't even know, because we were never allowed to have boundaries of our own. To have boundaries, we have to first define them for ourselves, set them, honor them, communicate them, and maintain them. Learn how and when to be absolutely firm with them, and where and when and with whom you feel and you decide to be more flexible with them. So now we're going to talk about misalignments. Yeah, misalignments can be a source of chronic anxiety too, as when even just one little part of your body is out of balance, it throws off the balance of your entire body, and this can cause a lot of inflammation and pain. Misalignments are not just physical, but we can also have misalignments in our meridians that affect our teeth, organs, emotions, energy levels, hormones, even the way we think. Many times we even have those trapped emotions in our nervous systems, organs, and bodily tissues that happened when we went into a freeze, or even emotions that aren't even our own but that we absorbed from somebody else at some point in our lifetime. And when these get stuck, they can actually cause meridians and soft tissue, connective tissue, or bone misalignments. They can also cause distortions and deficiencies in our magnetic fields, and all sorts of other symptoms that we may not think to attribute to a misalignment. Modalities like PRI, that is postural restoration, physical therapy, chiropractic, acupuncture, and body code can help to alleviate misalignments and help you to put an end to the chronic anxiety that comes from misalignments. Now let's talk about chronic pain, fatigue, inflammation. These chronic conditions are caused by most of the things I've previously talked about in this video, but it must never be dismissed or underestimated just how much anxiety, chronic pain, fatigue, and inflammation cause us. Whether it's caused by something physical, such as microbes, pathogens, toxins, EMF, or other radiation, dehydration, incorrect or insufficient eating, lack of sleep, or whether it's something that is causing it at the mental, emotional, or spiritual level, getting help from a qualified practitioner, functional doctor, naturopath, pro-metabolic nutritionist, or coach can help a lot, along with energy healing sessions such as from Body Code, body work like acupuncture, EFT or TFT meridian tapping, and, of course, trauma healing. We've covered a whole lot here so far, and that's all for this video here, part 1. But in my next video, in part 2, I'm going to cover a whole lot more and get down more to what's actually at the root of all of this. For now, hopefully, you found some helpful information here about what type of anxiety you might be experiencing, and some helpful tips about some things you can do about it. Thank you so much for stopping by and listening. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like it, subscribe for more, share with others, and post your questions and comments below too. Until next time, have a wonderful day.